I always believed my parents loved me. Maybe not the warm, affectionate kind of love, but at least the basic kind. Care, responsibility, protection. I held on to that belief even when their actions didn't always match it. But everything changed the day I nearly died, and the two people who brought me into the world proved that I meant absolutely nothing to them. I was on my way to our annual family party, the one event my parents always insisted I attend. My mother had called me earlier in the morning, scolding me not to be late because appearances matter. I was already running behind, so I rushed out of my apartment without eating, hoping to stop for a quick drink on the way. I never made it. A truck sped past a red light and slammed into my side of the car. The force spun my vehicle so violently I heard my bones crack before I even felt pain. The world blurred, metal twisted, and I remember screaming while smoke filled the car. Strangers rushed in, pulling me out just before the engine caught fire. I'm still thankful for them. When the ambulance arrived, my right leg was bent in a way no leg should be. I was drifting in and out, but I had enough strength to grab my phone and call my parents. My hands were shaking so hard I nearly dropped it. Mom, I've had an accident. They're taking me to. I'm at the grocery shop with your father, she cut in sharply, like I had inconvenienced her. Can this wait? We're busy. Mom, please, I whispered, crying. I think my leg is broken. I need you to come. She sighed loudly. Your father says we'll come later. We're in the middle of shopping. Don't be dramatic, Nora. And she hung up. The paramedics looked at me with sympathy they didn't voice, and I went unconscious soon after. When I woke up, I was in a hospital bed with a cast running from my hip to my toes. The doctor approached me with a calm but serious expression. Nora, you need to know the situation with your leg. It's bad. You have fractures on multiple points and internal bleeding. You need emergency surgery. I nodded weakly. Okay. Please call my parents. I need them to sign whatever you need. He hesitated. We already spoke with them. That confused me. Then, they refused to authorize the surgery. I stared at him, waiting for him to say it was a misunderstanding. He didn't. Refused. My voice cracked. Why would they do that? They know I could lose my leg. They told us not to bother them with unnecessary requests, the doctor said cautiously. They said they were busy and you should manage without surgery. Manage without surgery? My leg was practically shattered. I felt cold all over. Angry. Ashamed. Abandoned. But mostly, I felt something inside me break in a way that no surgeon could fix. So what happens now? I asked, voice trembling. He sighed. We can stabilize you temporarily, but without surgery, you could lose your leg or your life. I'm sorry. The next 3 days were the longest of my life. I lay there alone in that hospital bed with no visitors, praying I wouldn't die. Nurses whispered among themselves about how my parents hadn't even called to check on me. I heard them refer to my case as unbelievable. I kept checking my phone, hoping for a missed call, a text, anything. But nothing came. Not one message. Not from my mother. Not from my father. They moved on with life like I wasn't even alive. On the 3rd day, just when the pain became unbearable and I thought I might actually slip into shock, nurses rushed into my room with new energy. Your surgery has been paid for, one said with a bright smile. Everything is cleared. What? I whispered. Who paid? We don't know yet, another nurse said. It was anonymous. I went into surgery that evening, still shocked. The operation took hours, and I spent days afterward recovering, slowly regaining my strength. The doctors and nurses treated me with so much care that at times I wondered if they pitied me. It didn't matter. Their kindness kept me going. A month later, I had fully healed enough to walk with support, And that was when the doctor finally told me the truth. Nora, the person who paid for your surgery and all your bills, it was your grandmother. I almost dropped the cup of water in my hand. My grandmother? But my grandmother died when I was little. He nodded. Your maternal grandmother. She's been alive all this time. My jaw fell open. My parents told me she had died. They told me she wanted nothing to do with us. They erased her from my life. Why would they lie? He gave me a sad smile. I don't know, but she begged us not to tell you until you were fully healed. She wanted you strong before meeting you. The next day, she walked into my hospital room. A soft-spoken, elegant elderly woman with kind eyes and silver hair, holding a walking stick. Nora, she whispered, tears already falling. My beautiful granddaughter. I cried before I even stood up. She pulled me into her arms, and the warmth I'd been craving for years finally wrapped around me. She told me everything. My parents cut her off years ago after a fight about money. They didn't like how she questioned the way they treated me as a child. When she tried to stay involved in my life, they told her to stay away permanently. They even told her I didn't want to see her. For years, she'd lived just a few towns away, waiting for any opportunity to reconnect. When she saw the accident on social media, my car crushed, my name in the headlines, she rushed straight to the hospital. She was the one who demanded the doctors run tests, who ordered them to schedule the surgery immediately. She was the one who stayed up all night praying outside the operating room. My own parents never came, not once. My grandmother stayed with me for weeks after I was discharged. She moved into my apartment temporarily, cooking for me, cleaning, keeping me company, giving me the motherly love I had never known. And she was quiet, too quiet, for weeks. Until one day she said, Nora, I think it's time your parents learn that actions have consequences. A month later, she taught them the lesson they deserved. My grandmother had more money than I ever knew. Investments, properties, businesses. My parents had cut her off thinking she was useless to them financially. But they were wrong. She invited them for a family meeting. They showed up proudly, probably thinking she wanted to apologize for reconnecting with me. They always assumed they were the ones in control. When they walked into her living room, I was sitting right there beside her, standing tall on my healing leg. My mother froze like she had seen a ghost. What is she doing here? She hissed. My grandmother stood up slowly. Nora deserves to hear this as much as you do. My father scoffed. Hear what? That everything I own, she said firmly, every penny, every property, every business, will go to Nora. And only Nora. The room went silent. My mother's eyes bulged. What? Are you insane? You abandoned your daughter at her most critical moment, my grandmother said calmly. You refused her surgery. You left her to die. My father stuttered. She's dramatic. She is always exaggerating. I saw the paperwork, my grandmother snapped. You told the hospital not to proceed. You told them she would manage without surgery. I will never forgive that. My mother started yelling, throwing accusations, blaming me, blaming the doctor, blaming everyone except herself. My father joined, but my grandmother simply lifted her hand and they fell silent. I'm cutting all ties with you, she said coldly. You will receive nothing from me. Not now, not ever. Nora is my only family. And the two of you are strangers. My parents stormed out, threatening lawyers, shouting insults. But nothing they said mattered. My grandmother's finances were airtight. Her will was ironclad. They had no say, no claim, no power. For once, they couldn't manipulate or bully their way out of consequences. That night, my grandmother looked at me and said, You were never the problem, Nora. You were simply raised by people who didn't know how to love. I cried again, but those tears were healing. Today, I live with my grandmother in her beautiful home. I'm safe. I'm loved. I'm finally seen as a human being. As for my parents, word spread quickly in our community about what they did. The shame alone has been enough punishment. But losing access to my grandmother's wealth, something they believed they were entitled to, cut even deeper. They taught me neglect. My grandmother taught them consequences. And that was the justice I never knew I needed. Moral lesson. This story reminds us that true family is not defined by blood alone, but by the people who choose to love, protect, and stand by us when life falls apart. Sometimes, the ones we expect to save us are the very ones who abandon us. And the kindness we need comes from unexpected places. If you've ever felt rejected, ignored, or unseen by the people you love, let Nora's story encourage you. Your worth is not measured by how others treat you, and you are never stuck with the pain others inflict. Healing can come from new connections, better relationships, and the courage to walk away from toxic family members. Protect your peace, surround yourself with those who value you, and remember, you are deserving of love, support, and a future brighter than the pain you survived.